The laughter in the restaurant suddenly stopped when she raised her voice. "Excuse me," she said sharply, glaring at me as if I were an unwanted intruder. "I'd like to speak to the owner about her being here." Every eye in the room turned toward us. My daughter-in-law stood tall, her designer handbag clutched tightly in one hand, her face twisted with indignation. And me, I just sat there, calmly, because little did she know, the owner she wanted to complain to was me. But this story didn't start in that restaurant. It started years ago, long before my son met her. Back then, life was simple. I was a single mother running a small family cafe, nothing fancy, but built with sweat, tears, and long nights. My husband had passed when my son, Ethan, was only 8. That cafe became our lifeline. I cooked, he studied. I managed debts, suppliers, and customers while he helped with dishes after school. Every corner of that cafe held a memory. A laughter shared, a tear wiped, a lesson learned. As the years went by, my business grew. Locals loved our food, our warmth, our story. Eventually, I was able to buy the entire building and expand into a small restaurant. My dream come true. I didn't tell many people that I was the full owner. I preferred being seen as the humble manager who chatted with guests and served food with love. Then Ethan graduated from college, found a good job, and soon after, met her, Sophia. She was beautiful, smart, and confident. At first, I was genuinely happy for him. But from the very first meeting, I sensed something wasn't right. She looked at me like I was beneath her, like my apron and work. Worn hands made me less worthy of respect. Still, I tried. I welcomed her into our family, cooked her favorite meals, and smiled through her cold politeness. When they married, I stood by, quietly proud of the man my son had become. But marriage changes people, especially when one believes they're better than the other's family. Months later, Ethan brought Sophia to visit the restaurant for the first time. She stepped in, looked around, and said dismissively, "Oh, it's quaint." I smiled anyway. She didn't know the stories behind the walls, the countless hours that had built this place. She didn't see the pride. It was invisible to her. Soon after, Ethan told me they wanted to host a private dinner for her friends at a nice restaurant. He said it shyly, not wanting to offend me. I laughed and said, "Why not host it here? You know, our place is more than nice. It's home." He agreed reluctantly. The evening arrived. Her friends, dressed to perfection, sat at the reserved table, sipping wine and laughing loudly. Sophia strutted around like a queen hosting her court, introducing everyone, but when I came over to help serve, her demeanor changed instantly. "Excuse me," she said in a low but sharp tone. "We don't need staff lingering around our table." Her friends looked confused. Ethan's face turned pale. I wanted to spare him embarrassment, so I simply smiled and said, "I'm just checking that everything's perfect." But then came the moment, the one I'll never forget. A waiter accidentally spilled a drop of wine near Sophia's seat. Furious, she stood up and demanded, "Where's the owner? I want to complain!" "This is unacceptable." She glared at me again, adding, "And why is she even here? Can't she stay out of sight?" The restaurant fell silent. Even the music seemed to fade. Slowly, I walked over to her and said softly, "You'd like to speak to the owner." "Less," she snapped. "The owner, not the help." I looked her in the eye, steady and calm, and said, "You already are." The color drained from her face. For a moment, she didn't understand. Then the realization hit. Murmurs spread through the room. Her friends shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Ethan looked like he wanted the floor to swallow him whole. I continued, my voice firm but kind. "This restaurant is mine. I built it from scratch. Every plate, every chair, every recipe has a piece of my life in it, you see. When you demanded to speak to the owner, you were really asking to speak to the woman who raised your husband, who made sure he never went hungry, who gave him the life that allows him to sit here today. She stared at me, speechless. No words came out, just shame written across her face. I could have humiliated her further, but I didn't. Instead, I smiled and said, "Please enjoy your meal. The owner will make sure everything is perfect for you." That night, after everyone left, Ethan stayed behind. His voice trembled when he said, "Mom, I'm so sorry. I didn't know she'd act like that." I put my hand on his and said, "Son, respect isn't something you demand. It's something you show. Let's hope she learns that." For weeks, Sophia avoided me. But life has its way of humbling people. One afternoon, she came to the restaurant alone. Her eyes were swollen, like she'd been crying. "I was wrong," she said quietly. "I judged you because I thought success looked different, cleaner, richer. But I see now, you built something with love, not pride. I'm sorry." I saw sincerity in her eyes for the first time. I didn't need an apology, but I gave her forgiveness. Because sometimes, humility is the hardest lesson to learn and the most important. From that day forward, she started coming by often, helping with small things, learning recipes, even laughing with the staff she once looked down on. Our relationship slowly healed. She began to see that strength isn't about titles or money. It's about resilience, kindness, and the heart behind your work. Now, when guests visit, she proudly introduces me. "This is my mother-in-law, the owner, and the strongest woman I know." And every time I hear her say that, I smile. Not because I won an argument, but because I helped her understand something: life. Changing true respect isn't demanded. It's earned. That night she demanded to speak to the owner. She thought she was putting me in my place. But what she didn't realize was, she found hers.